and welcome to the second segment on how to create a Druid character in the game Dungeons & Dragons Online. We just got done choosing our race, and so we're now ready to go to the next section, which is assigning points to our ability scores. And just in case you have forgotten what each ability score does for the character, in this middle column it helps you decide, tells you what the ability affects, like strength affects the melee attack and constitution affects hit points. Another thing to make note of is over here, it gives you a little, in this panel it tells how it relates to the druid, how each ability score will relate to the druid. Like wisdom is really important. It usually lists the most important ability score first, and it relates to the spell points a druid gets and how hard to resist the druid spells too. So you can quickly read down here, but you'll notice that there's no mention of intelligence and charisma, and that's what I call a dump stat. Dump stat, it means that you're probably not going to waste putting any points into these two ability scores because it does nothing to benefit you. You can get more value out of them in putting them in other places. The other panel down here is kind of nice because you can see if I adjust the constitution, the hit points go up in the to show you what the character's hit points are going to be, and like the spell points are 50 and they'll go up to 90 if I max out on wisdom. The other thing to kind of note is that the starting values of each of the abilities. Because we chose an elf, we got +2 to the base 8, which gives you 10, and an elf gets less constitution, so it starts out with 6. And that's important because the first 6 points to the ability score is you spend 1 ability point to get 1 point in that ability score. So that happens, 8 plus 6 is 14. And then when you get to 15, it takes 2, and when it gets to 17, it takes 3 off. And so instead of, in this case, it'll be 16, you'll spend 1 point up to 16, and then it would take 2 points to get 17 instead of 3 in a strength. But on a constitution, it'd be to 12, and then it's going to cost us 2 points thereafter. Okay, with that in mind, we want to get the most spell points that we can and the most hit points that we can. And notice that we can only get up to 14 here, and that leaves us only 2 left, and that can go to the strength just in case something comes up and we have to fight it with a staff or a weapon. Look at the modifiers because they'll be important in our next segment here, which has to do with spending skill points. When I go to our next section, we have 12 skill points to distribute to all these skills. And notice these ability modifiers, the +2, the wisdom, the heal is a wisdom, so it's a +4. And so you can tell that the ability modifiers affect our skill, the total value of our skill points. These asterisks are what they call cross-class skills. In other words, druids don't normally vest points in these, so they cost 2 points to get the value of 1. See, notice that went from 12 to 10. But if it doesn't have an asterisk, it's a 1 for 1. So we spend 1, we get 1. Okay, I see that we're running out of time. So in the next segment, we'll discuss skill points a little bit more in depth.